So this question, H-Hink, covers the familiar area of free cash flow valuation, and you need to be able to deal with free cash flow to equity and free cash flow to the firm. Really standard area, really big area, and lots of complexity depending on the context of the question and depending on what you're given. So obviously you can calculate free cash flows starting with cash from operations, or you might be given net income, or you might be given some other number, EBITDA, to calculate and get to free cash flow. So there might be several things that you have to do to adjust the numbers. So that's why it's really important that you don't just learn one way of doing the calculation, and that you're flexible and you can adapt to different scenarios. So let's have a look at this in context and see if you can do it.
Right, so to begin with in the test, we're going to take a quick skim through the topics and let's see what's in here. So H has been asked to produce a report valuation with free cash flow valuation model. So it looks like we're going to have to do some calcs here. Also investigate the use of more complex models, other issues in undertaking, so maybe some suitability issues as well. Then we've got some handbooks, some statements. So statements about EBITDA being a proxy for free cash flow, investment in working and fixed capital. So what EBITDA, is it suitable? What is it? Then we've got some numbers here in this slide. So Dover unsure whether to follow the advice. Here we've got some numbers. So it looks certainly here that we're going to be calculating free cash flow to the firm or free cash flow to equity, perhaps both. This here is all information, bond issue and repayment. Looks like that's useful for free cash flow to equity. We've got a tax rate that probably is going to be useful. We've also got growth here. So again, looks very much like we're going to be doing a calculation. To help with the discount rate for cash flows, well, we know for free cash flow to the firm, free cash flow to equity, that's either going to be WACC or cost of equity. Not sure which yet. Then we come across some issues, redeemable preference shares. Okay, that's unusual. Free cash flow, is it appropriateness? So maybe there's an appropriateness question coming. Then we've got an announcement from the CEO about future net income. Announcement will be made. We're going to pay more out as dividends, and so we're going to raise more debt. So this is a capital structure issue. And then we look and we've got a formula here, so that's great. We're going to use a formula for free cash flow to equity. Okay, so this looks like where we're going. Regarding the handbook statements on EBITDA, which statements are correct? Well, let's go see the handbook statements on EBITDA. So first statement is EBITDA is a good proxy for free cash flow to the firm. That's not true. You might think, well, that sounds familiar. What we learned at level 1 is that EBITDA is a good proxy for cash from operations. And even then there's some significant add-backs of or significant differences with EBITDA and cash from operations sometimes.